Hey, this is Nick. So I recently had put a poll on Instagram and asked if people were interested in my pedal board. I'd done some changes and sort of posted it on an Instagram story. And had 95% people said that they were interested in it. One person said no, but he was a drummer, so Sam. Anyway, enough calling out Sam. So I thought I'd kind of just discuss this and sort of my reasonings why I've gone with this particular setup. So I use 4 overdrive pedals. Now for some people that might seem excessive. For me it's not. It's kind of what I use. This is my live setup, by the way, too. In the studio it's completely different. In the studio I'll use the Fractal AX8 almost exclusively. Sometimes I use it live too, but generally I like to use pedals live. It's just how I'm used to doing things. I like to be able to just quickly change something, or change a pedal out for a gig or whatever, like while I'm there. It's just how I'm used to working. So I'm running through my Victoria amp down here, which is a 45410. It's what I mostly use for gigs. Sometimes I use my little deluxe, which is the 2112, but mostly this amp. So the first overdrive I'll talk about, and these are the first 2 that I use the most. The first one is the Cusack Screamer. So basically this is my clean sound. Right, so I've got a little bit of reverb on that's coming from the Flint, and I just leave that on all the time unless I'm playing kind of a funk groove thing, because when you get into this sort of thing, reverb just clutters it, so I'll take it off for that sort of thing. It's much funkier without the reverb, but generally I just leave it on all the time. I like a longer reverb, but not a lot of it. It's about like that. Anyway, so the Cusack Screamer. So basically a tube screamer for me is number 1. That's kind of one of the sounds I have to have. Set everything up the middle usually. Tone in the middle, drive in the middle. So this is clean. And then this is with the Cusack. So I run a volume pedal and then I can balance it via that. So I actually have the level pretty loud usually, and then I can kind of balance what's going to happen with the level based on the volume pedal and what's going on with the music. So it's that kind of tone, and I use that a lot. That's your kind of blues, rockish kind of tone. It's not real heavy, but it's got a little bit of a bite, and that's kind of what I use most of the time. I'll clean it up sometimes on here, but that's like the kind of core tone I use a lot. And then I use the BB preamp, and I have this again set pretty much up the middle except for the volume, which I'll kind of ride again. But this is the kind of sound of the BB. So it's a bit more aggressive. To me, that's kind of my solo tone, and I'll use that usually with a bit of delay. And I use this Canyon pedal by Electro Harmonics. It's a little loud for me in terms of the delay. Usually I'll use it about this sort of setting. So I want 4 repeats. By then it's kind of tapered out. Use this tap tempo. So while I'm playing, you don't really hear that delay. All it does is kind of fattens up that BB preamp sound. I find reverb tends to make your guitar sound sit back a little bit. Delay tends to bring it forward and make it add sustain and kind of yeah, it just makes it a more pleasing sound. But I don't want to hear the delays, just maybe a little bit of the tails and whatever else, but otherwise it's kind of off. And then I have the Archer pedal here, which is a pedal that I just use. I've got the drive setting on 0. So this is without it and with it. So it's basically just a volume boost, but running through it, it compresses in a certain kind of way. So I'll use that just generally as a clean boost, but I kind of will add that with overdrives. So those are kind of the first three that I'll use. Sometimes I put the QSAC and the BB on together. So this is clean, QSAC, and BB. To me, that's a very singing kind of lead tone, and I really like that, especially for a rock gig. That's kind of a lot of fun. So I'll put both on. And then the other one here is the T-Drive. This is a new pedal for me. I like this one because it's sort of, it's a sound that those other pedals don't have. And it's essentially that hard-hitting rock guitar tone. So I pretty much always use this on bridge pickup, and I just set it like this. What I like about that kind of sound is it's just so aggressive and nasty, which is a lot of fun to play. You know, you have a sound that it's another color to those other pedals. I don't use that very often because I don't do that many kind of gigs where I need that kind of very aggressive rock sound. But when I do, that's the sound. So I leave that on my board again as well. So that's where the 4 drives come from. Blues kind of tone, rock kind of lead tone, boost, which, you know, I'll often just turn on and leave on, or boost the clean sound, boost any of the overdrives, and then the T-Drive for when I want that kind of... in addition to that, I have an octave pedal which lives here all the time. And that's a big part of my sound. I use that all the time. It's an original OC2, so an old one. It's just fat. I like using this amp with that because it will reproduce the bottom end. If you have a smaller amp, it'll struggle and fart all over the place. But that doesn't really work all that well with some overdrives. It works great with the T-Drive, not so much with the QSAC. It's okay with the BB preamp, but it works great with the Archer. So use that. And then the other sound I have is a tremolo, which is on the Flint. And I got it set at the moment to that kind of Leslie Univibe type thing. So it's fat, and you know, I'll use that as a kind of regular tremolo as well, but usually I like to pretty much leave it on that Univibe kind of sound. And then of course a good old-fashioned tuner. You got to be in tune. I tune between every song. I hate guitars out of tune. I just check it, takes me 2 seconds, and then I know I'm in tune. There's absolutely no excuse for a guitar being out of tune on a gig. So for me, it's like I always it's just one of those things that I do. So yeah, I hope you've liked having a quick look at my pedal board, and this video's for you, Sam. Thanks for your anyway. So if you have any questions, fire them below. I'm gonna start ramping up the content on here. It's been just crazy busy, but the next few months are kind of normal out a little bit. I got my regular stuff going on, but not crazy other than when the jazz festival's on in Wellington. I'm looking forward to I'm going to New Caledonia in June, so if anyone's in New Caledonia, let me know. I'll be playing there with the great Hammond organ player Michel Bennybig and his lovely wife Shem, and we're going to play some tunes and stuff. That'll be kind of a bluesy jazz swing thing, and we're going to do a couple of Deep Purple things, so Michel can kind of get into that John Lord type thing on the organ, which should be heaps of fun. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed watching this, and yeah, remember to subscribe, like, and leave me any comments below if you want to know some stuff about why I'm doing this. Pedalboard, you know, like why I set certain things certain ways, or how I'm powering it, any of that kind of stuff. Just let me know. It's all good. I'm happy to answer it. All right, take care. Cheers.